I'll swim through the sea. I'll climb to the mountain tops. Won't you come follow me? I'll take time to notice all that I see. And after I've come so far, you know where I'll be. I'll fly away, fly away, fly away, fly away home. I'll fly away, fly away, fly away, fly away home. But life is a vision, that's how it should be. The world is a canvas, and the choices are free. At the end of the journey, where all is complete, they'll all wonder where I've gone, but you know where I'll be. I'll fly away, fly away, fly away, fly away home. I'll fly away, fly away, fly away, fly away home. Our dreams last forever, for all that we know. The roads come together, and that's where we'll go.
For as many accolades and celebrations. Buenas Micronesia, I'm Troy Torres. Welcome to our January 17 edition of Kandit News in the Daytime. Welcome, Kandit Land. Thank you so much for joining us. And let's go straight to the news. Now, yesterday or last night, Johnny and I brought you the story, well, the first in a series regarding Larry Rupley's journey for justice and to help survivors of rape to come forward and tell their stories just like he did last night. Now, in last night's episode, what we brought to you was just one part of the interview that we conducted with Larry Rupley, and it was a painstaking, heart-wrenching portion. It was the part where he detailed what happened to him in 1985 when then rookie cop AJ Balahaja forcibly raped him. He was an 11-year-old boy at the time, and he went through the details, and I don't want to go through those details because it's hard enough to listen to. I cannot imagine, actually I can't imagine what it's like for Larry to have to tell that story, but he did, and we're thankful that he told the story for himself and for others because he said that he believes, he guarantees that there are other survivors of AJ Balahaja's rape. And we, here at Kandit, we put the call out to any of you who know any of these victims or these survivors to come forward. You can call me at 456-4237. You can email me at troy@candidnews.com. You can email the team at news@candidnews.com. You can go to our website, www.candidnews.com, and fill out an anonymous entry, anonymous form, news tip form, or you can send a message through there. Please try not to send messages through my personal Facebook Messenger because I don't see, I would say 98% of those messages. It's just not something that I've gotten used to, and I apologize for that if you sent me messages in the past. James Howard says, thank you, Larry Rupley. We are with you. Thank you, James. I'm sure he very much appreciates that if he's listening right now. We are simulcasting live from Facebook and from YouTube at the same time. I know the what is it called? The decibels, not the decibels, the pixelation, the quality. People like the quality on YouTube because you can like cast it onto your big screen or whatever. YouTube's first is video. Okay. Well, so last night that's what we brought you. What we didn't bring you, and what we're going to bring you today, is the second part of that interview, where Larry Ripley talks about how he tried to solve this situation in 2016. Now, Larry first came to us back in May of 2019, and he didn't want to be out there, but he told us his story. He told us what happened, and we began covering this issue. I swear that dog, man, cramps my style every single time. Yumiko, that's the tourists. They're tourists.
Good eye, though. Good eye.
Yes. Thank you for watching out, my Yumiko. We've been bringing you this story since May of 2019, and we conducted our own investigation into this matter. We interviewed quite a few people, and the date was May 15, 2019, Shella? May 15, 2019. Now, when Eric told me the date, because I didn't remember, something clicked about the date and a time lapse that date triggers in the law. And I'll explain that in just a few minutes when we delve into this further. But what these interviews show is a bunch of Republicans and government officials denying that they knew anything about what Larry Ripley was saying back in May. And the first interview I want to bring to you is the one we conducted over the phone with police officer at the time, AJ Belahaja. Hi, Officer Belahaja.
Yes.
Hi, Larry Ripley has told our news group about a rape that occurred when he was between the ages of 8 and 14 by you. Do you have anything to say about that?
I'm not aware of that.
You're not aware of any meeting that you had with Larry Ripley a couple of years ago when you were a candidate for senator, in which he confronted you about this issue in order to get some closure, and you said to him, quote, I don't recall that. If I did that to you, only guilty people do that. So, because of the nature of the crime, or the time that the crime took place, it's 1985. At that time, the statute of limitations was 3 years for forcible rape on a child. The statute has since been repealed in 2016, but the Constitution doesn't allow ex post facto laws, so you cannot go back. You can't turn the time clock back and remove the statute of limitations on the 1985 crime. But because at the time, police officer AJ Belahaja already was a government of Guam employee, and he did not cease to become a government of Guam employee until October of last year, he's still liable for official misconduct. Now, official misconduct is classified as a criminal misdemeanor under Guam's laws. And what it says is if you committed a crime anytime during your employment in the government of Guam, you can be prosecuted for that crime anytime during your employment or anytime from the date your employment ceases with the government of Guam until 3 years later. So the clock on official misconduct for AJ Belahaja began in October of 2019, and it will not end until October of 2022. So the Attorney General's office, the Guam Police Department, they certainly can investigate this on the criminal side of things between the time that AJ Belahaja was a police officer all the way to October of 2022. On May 15 of 2019, we did bring this issue up to police spokesman Sergeant Paul Tapau, and here's what he had to tell us. that took place that the victim is telling us about when AJ was a Republican senatorial candidate, and how the victim confronted AJ about this, and AJ's response was, I don't recall that happening, but if it did happen the way you said it happened, then I'm sorry. And so it's like a very telling response. And the only question that I had for you about this was, aside from, is the Guam Police Department aware of this? The only other question I have is, since the statute of limitations for a criminal charge of rape is long gone, or is passed a long time ago, whether an official misconduct charge can be filed, and where that can be filed. Would it be at a precinct or at the chief of police office?
Okay, so yeah, let me walk away with it.
Okay.
So these are serious allegations and everything that we take seriously. Allegations against any police officer.
Okay.
We take them seriously. Now I can, from what you're telling me, this is new to me and probably new to the department.
Okay.
I don't recall any complaints filed any other officer or made towards Officer Balahato.
Okay.
Now your second question, and then again, we will move forward with any information or any complaint that is filed as a police officer.
Okay.
In accordance to both protecting the officers' administrative employee rights, and of course, first and foremost, ensuring the rights to the complainant and of course the victim.
Sure.
Now, if anybody would like to file a complaint against an officer, they can, rightfully go to any precinct. If they feel that they're comfortable speaking to an officer there.
Okay.
If not, they can go to our internal affairs, which is open from 8 to 5. If it's an allegation against a police officer for any official misconduct.
Okay.
A complaint relative to that of an infraction of law. Criminal complaint can also be filed within a respective precinct of your choice.
Okay.
You can speak to any officer that will fill the complaint.
Okay.
The officer cannot fulfill the closure of the case or the report at that time. All reports will be reported to our criminal investigation division for follow-up, and of course, if it's an officer, will also be forwarded to our internal affairs division.
What?
So once that's forwarded, yeah.
In a case like this, where there's an allegation of rape against children, and considering that police officers have not just access to children, but one can argue power over their custody, or are there steps that you guys take to maybe place the officer away from having access to children, like for instance, if he's on the beat, right? If he's assigned to a precinct or to an investigative unit.
There's a process that we do too.
Okay.
Assure the safety of the community and everything. But again, these are administrative issues that we would deal with in the long police department.
Okay, so there are administrative processes to protect the community while the investigation is ongoing.
Yes, you're correct.
Okay.
And you know what? Like I said, man, I'm with my family, and I do have my younger kids with me. So
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for spending this time with us. Then, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, I can what I can do first thing in the morning is actually our files are immediate command of these steps, and should an official complaint come our way, we will move according to the complaint and providing the rights to the victim, and of course following suit to protect with anybody that's employed with the government of Guam, they have employee rights and everything, so we
Sure.
have to honor and respect that.
Sure.
Both an administrative investigation and a criminal investigation should any complaint be filed or lodged.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Sergeant Tapao. You have a good night. Thank you. Right. Now, just an aside to that conversation that we had with police spokesman Sergeant Paul Tapao, following that conversation, AJ Balahaja was removed from the Criminal Investigation Division and sent to do some desk work away from children. It was something that they did. On the other hand, despite clear evidence with a video in living color of police officer Joey Uggan brutalizing a cuffed defendant, the Guam Police Department has decided to send Joey again back onto the streets so that he could potentially reoffend. I just wanted to make that comparison real quick. But going back to the issue at hand of AJ Belahaja, when Eric told me the date of that interview, May 15, 2019, some bells went off in my head, and I started to do the math on it. May 15, 2019, from that phone call to Sergeant Paul Tapau, that was the date that the Guam Police Department knew or should have known about AJ Belahaja's misconduct, because that was the date that it was reported to them through that phone call. The term knew or should have known is something that you'll find in the civil service statute. When action is brought against a government of Guam employee, a 90-day clock runs. Now, if you remember in a previous story that we did, Police Chief Steve Ignacio told us that AJ Belahaja retired on October 27, and when he retired, the internal affairs investigation into him ended. But the day after this interview with Sergeant Paul Tapau, Kandit filed its complaint against policeman AJ Belahaja. So that was May 16, but May 15 was the day that they knew or should have known. The 90-day clock on that investigation started on May 15. And if you count down the 90 days from May 15, you hit June 15, July 15, August 15. That investigation into AJ Belahaja should have ended 2.5 months prior to AJ Belahaja retiring from the Guam Police Department. And they never provided an outcome of that investigation. Someone in the Guam Police Department is lying. And someone in the administration is covering something up about this case. This is a new angle to this story that we just discovered right before coming on to the set today. And we're going to follow that angle to this story because someone is lying and someone is covering something up in the administration. Now, the ending of that investigation, the administrative investigation into AJ Belahaja's official misconduct for this rape case may have been the reason that Republican Senator Will Castro, also a candidate for Congress, decided that it was okay to introduce a resolution commending AJ Belahaja for 35 or so years of service in the Guam Police Department. It was a resolution that he introduced a couple of weeks ago. And when Kandit found out, we were hot on it and we were very angry. And we sent out, we did a news thing on it. We sent some stuff out. We asked the Speaker's office and the Rules Committee what's going on with this. Well, we found out that Senator Will Castro had officially withdrawn his resolution commending Mr. Belahaja, and he's agreed to come onto our show via phone interview, and we're going to call him right now.
Hi, Troy.
Hi, good afternoon, Senator. Thank you for agreeing to this phone call.
Okay, no problem.
So I know you introduced a resolution to commend AJ Belahaja. I know that back in the Calvo administration, we all knew each other. We were all friends or whatever. And I wanted to ask you, why did you introduce that resolution and why did you withdraw it?
So, the introduction, yes, you're correct. We knew each other then, and we were colleagues. And so, I would introduce a commendatory resolution upon retirement or if anything was exceptional for any member of, of our community, public or private employee.
Okay.
And so we felt it was, it was brought up to the team, and I felt it was meritable. Now, why did I suspend it? So, first of all, it's withdrawn, officially withdrawn. And
yes.
Before we even got there, I know you were very critical, and that's okay. First of all, I appreciate you keeping your criticisms about the belt. So I appreciate that. I also appreciate you clarifying for the record that I did suspend it as I said I would.
Yes,
So
and
for that.
thank you for withdrawing it. We saw the memo from the speaker's office, or to the
Well,
speaker's office. So
And let me explain. So, the suspension, Troy, came because, there was a concern of an alleged heinous crime. Okay,
Okay.
in my mind. So I don't want to editorialize. I don't want to pontificate. But at the end of the day, it was an allegation. And so my team was doing their due diligence. And then let me just kind of walk this through so you understand my thought process. You see, when I was first elected, my chief of staff was arrested for peaceful protests. Now, the manner in which he executed that, I personally would have chose a different manner of protesting, right? But nonetheless, he was arrested, and the media crucified me. Everybody was demanding that he be terminated, and I chose to keep him, and I kept him on board. He was incarcerated, or he was, but he was released. Ultimately, he was booked and released in less than 24 hours, I think. And I stood by him because he wasn't found guilty of anything in particular. There was no threat to life, etc. And at the end of the day, to this day, I don't even know what the resolution is. So I stood by my chief of staff because he was charged with a crime and had to go through the due process. Now, I was affording the person you're mentioning the opportunity to stand on his merit based on his professional conduct as recorded, as we were memorializing. Anything over and above that, anything alleged to me, I'll take it simply as that. So my staff, one of my senior staffers, he's not in at the moment, but I'll get it from him in writing. He's had conversations, I believe, with both GPD and a member of the Attorney General's office. So he was attempting to conduct his due diligence on my behalf. Now, what changed? What changed was, and by the way, I don't know, I got to go back to your main interview, but I don't remember you mentioning an individual's name. Do you? I just not even retro, I don't really recall you mentioning the person who went live today, right? So that wasn't mentioned to me. As a matter of fact, I was counseled by people I really trust about this individual, the alleged, the victim, the alleged victim. And no name was disclosed to me, Troy, for the record. I can ask, they didn't volunteer. Lo and behold, I get a direct text from the alleged victim. Now, what makes him different than anybody? I personally know this individual. I grew up with this individual in the same village. This person was recanting his experience as he remembers it to be and as he represented it to be factual. Whether or not there's a criminal side to that, whether or not the courts uphold his claim, I don't know where it's going, but what I do know is I know this person to the point where he wouldn't have a reason to lie to me. Now, whether or not all the details that he was recounting are true or not, I'm not judge and I'm not jury, but I know this much. It was sufficient enough for me to withdraw the resolution until such time that there's resolution to this issue. That's the difference, Troy. I spoke to the victim, right? At least I gave people who had concerns about the resolution the benefit of the doubt, and I suspended it from moving forward. That was there. Now that I heard from the victim himself, that was enough on a moral conviction level because I know the credibility of this individual. I grew up with him. It wasn't some random person out there alleging this first-degree criminal sexual conduct allegation.
Let me ask you, Senator.
And it was very hurtful. So I'm very sorry for him, and I apologize to him, and I told him I prayed for him.
So, Senator, are you saying that if you didn't know the child rape victim, then you would have supported this AJ Balahaja resolution?
No, that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm saying I would have gone, regardless of AJ or Larry.
Okay.
That I would have held the resolution into abeyance until I heard from persons in positions of authority. Unfortunately, we weren't turning up anything yet. Now, again, my staffer's not even my senior staffer, but so I would have had to wrestle with that with myself and seek more guidance from a multitude of counselors on how best to proceed. If there's no written record or no finding of criminal misconduct or no definitive record that says this person has been charged and is found guilty of committing the crime, how do I take a position as a member of a policy body when on hearsay? So the game changer for me was hearing from the victim. That was enough for me from a moral perspective, being the person I am and my social circles and how I operate and live my personal life, that I felt it was sufficient to withdraw in its entirety. I'm saying Any other time someone has an allegation against someone that's going to be given a commendatory resolution based on his written or his or her written proven record, at the very least, I'll suspend it and continue to look into it. I may not move forward with it, but I'm not going to withdraw a resolution simply because someone said someone's a bad person. So we would have done our due diligence, which is what we're doing. Again, the circumstance had changed, as I heard from the victim, and that was enough to touch me on my personal human level, beyond trying to be a reasonable, rational person based on some record. Does that make any sense to you? I don't know if I'm making any sense, but it was enough. I don't know if I can rationalize it more than I know the person, and it hurt me, it touched me enough to withdraw the resolution in its entirety.
Senator, do you believe that Larry Rupley is telling the truth?
As a person, I don't believe Larry Ripley has any reason to lie.
Okay.
And this is a very traumatic event, and so I was shocked. I don't know how best to proceed. I don't know. If there's really a criminal complaint filed, if there was an investigation, my staff was requesting for the copy of that record if they can release it. Nonetheless, there was a whole third branch to deal with this kind of allegation. But I have no reason to doubt Larry Ripley as a person I grew up with.
Now, the rationale that you didn't have any charges on paper to rely on, or indictment, or anything like that.
And I didn't have a name. I didn't have the name of the victim. I had someone
or the name of the victim. May I ask you? Would you introduce a commendatory resolution for former Archbishop Anthony Apron? Because it's the same kind of thing.
Absolutely not. I wouldn't have if those things were brought to my attention. So those things,
Well, because Anthony Apron's never been charged in a criminal court, just like AJ Balahaja has never been charged.
Yeah, but and again, I don't know the sequence of events. If the reso was introduced first and then the allegations came out, or I wasn't sensitized to any of these allegations prior to that. To be honest with you, even when Larry was telling me that it was brought up on the trail, I don't know if I just was focused on my own campaign, but I don't remember hearing any of that, to be honest with you. I don't, until you called me, and then I suspended it and had my staff look at it. Now it's in front of me because I am the prime author.
Senator, do you remember an interview that we did on May 15, 2019, when we discussed this issue?
I believe, yes, to the best of my recollection, I remember talking. Is this the one inside the legislature?
No, I called you up and we talked over the phone. It was in the afternoon on May 15, 2019, and I brought this issue to your attention about police officer AJ Balahaja.
Was the resolution already introduced?
No. This was before the resolution, and that's why we were quite incensed about the resolution, because we understood that you already knew about these allegations against him.
Yeah, then forgive me. I'll go back on the record and look at exactly what I said. But I do remember interviewing with you. I don't remember the details of what may have been brought up. And,
Okay.
Forgive me for that. But now that it's crystal clear in front of me that I walked this, it's concrete beyond your interview. That it's actually because of certain concerns raised, my staff, I've directed them to take concrete steps forward to look into this, both
Okay.
with the police department and the attorney general. And that was enough for me. And then to move forward to find out from the victim, him or herself, and there might even be more, that I withdrew the resolution. So
I'm glad you're saying that, Senator, because the next thing I wanted to ask you is regarding the administration's conduct moving forward in this investigation into AJ Balahaja for, at the very least, official misconduct and quite possibly conspiracy on the part of others in the Republican Party, not yourself, but others in the Republican Party, in a cover-up that happened in 2016. But what I want to ask you regarding the executive branch's role in this, and you said that you followed up, or you're having your staff go to GPD and the AG's office about this, what do you think that the Attorney General and the Guam Police Department need to do about this?
What I think we need to do, I don't even know where to begin. I would handle this with any other criminal complaint. I would assume that they're going to go in and investigate, and I would assume that they're going to do their due diligence and establish a matter of record and determine the level of prosecution. I don't know. I'm not familiar with this, but I can only speak to issues that I've been exposed to. But nowhere. They come nowhere near anything like this. So this is all new territory for me.
Would you support an oversight hearing by the Committee on Public Safety over the Guam Police Department for its failure to effectively conduct an internal affairs review of AJ Balahaja before he retired?
I would if the committee chair does it, but I wouldn't single any single person out. If there's a pattern of behavior here, then that definitely warrants legislative oversight. If there's any alleged cover-up, whether it's one or more people. So while this is the focus of your inquiry, the short answer is yes, but I would probably expand it to see if there's a pattern for other things. Now, by the way, just so you know, for the record, I have no recollection of a Republican Party conspiracy, nor, again, man, I'm telling you, I don't remember even discussing this on the trail. I don't know, I was 14 or 16 when he ran, but I've never been pulled into a room or even discussed this on the side with, I think, one or two people. As a matter of fact, the details that Larry Ripley revealed to me about any meetings he may have had was news to me. All of that was the first time I've ever heard of any of it at that level of detail, to be totally honest with you. And that was the first time I spoke to Larry about it, and that's the only time. That's all it took for me to withdraw. So, you know.
Senator, may I ask you one final thing? Do you,
sure.
now that this information has come forward, do you regret encouraging AJ Balahaja to run under the Republican banner and helping him campaign in the 2016 election?
I would regret it if he was found guilty of all. I think it's hurtful. I don't even want to condemn AJ. It would be presumptuous of me, but I do.
Well, Senator, it's either you believe Larry Ripley or you don't. It cannot be halfway. So, do you regret it or not?
I will never support a candidate who has committed any crime, especially a heinous one against a minor, any day going forward. Now, I'm remorseful. If, in fact, any of these are found to be true, yes, I would be remorseful. Yes, if any of this is found to be true, I would be remorseful. And if I see the alleged perpetrator, I will ask him about this, because now it's beyond the courts. Now I'm dealing with this not as a senator, but as a person. And so I will have to have that conversation when the time arises.
Thank you, Senator.
So,
I appreciate your time. Do you have anything else to add?
No, but thank you. Every time you report the facts and you keep it on the table in terms of my professional conduct or record, I appreciate that. And every time you move away from characterizing me or attacking the family, which you have not done, I would appreciate that even further. And it brings more credibility and my level of respect and appreciation for your reporting grows. So thank you for that. And thank you for giving me
I'll let our viewers decide that, Senator. I will not let any member of the Guam legislature decide that for us.
I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Senator.
Thanks, Troy. Have a
Right.
good day.
You too. No senator is going to tell me what's good or not. What? Let's go to the May 15, 2019 interview with Senator Will Castro.
Hello.
Hi, good evening, Senator.
Hi, good evening.
Hi, Senator. This is Troy Torres with Kandit News.
Hi, Troy.
Hi. I hope everything's all right with you this evening.
I'm sorry, come again?
I hope all is okay with you this evening.
It's good, like, thank you. Don't mind, I'm going to have to be short, but I'm at a ceremony here.
Okay, I'll keep this very short. So we're about to break a story on AJ Balahaja, the police officer who was a Republican senatorial candidate in the slate that you ran in.
I know AJ.
Yeah, and so he has been accused of raping a boy between the ages of 8 and 14 when he was first a police officer. And this information was brought to the Republican Party by the victim himself, was brought to the Republican Party when AJ was a senatorial candidate. And according to the victim, the Republican Party did not do anything about it, did not remove AJ from the slate.
So, Troy, just a full disclosure, I'm not pretty still now.
Oh, so you're not aware of this then?
No, but
Okay.
I'm not aware, but I will go
when I cleared the test.
Okay.
And, of course, I'm sorry to see this word, but of course I can't condone his rant, but I'm very sorry to the victim, to the allegations you hold. Just even on the piece of sorry. I know Aiden personally. I've always known him to be a good person. It's all news to me. Do you know the year that the now?
The senatorial election year?
Yeah. So this 2018.
No, this would have been the 2016 election, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm sorry, you're talking midterm elections. Okay, I'm sorry. Every year is senatorial. So midterm 2016 to the Republican Party. I wasn't privy to that. I don't know if I even have that now.
I'm so sorry, Senator. It was the 2018 election.
Okay, no, I'm not privy. I am the minority leader now, and I am not aware.
Okay.
So you're the first one to inform me. Boy, thanks for the call. If you want to further come to me, and then we can have a conversation in the morning.
Sure. Thank you, Senator. But just so for confirmation, you were not aware of this at least at that time.
No, not aware of this though now.
Not aware. Okay. All right. Thank you, Senator. I appreciate your time on this.
Have a good one.
You too. Okay. Bye.
Bye.
So Senator Will Castro was aware of this issue since May 15, 2019. As you heard in the interview that we had with him, he said that he introduced the resolution to honor AJ Belahaja because he was not aware of the allegations against AJ Belahaja. But as you just heard in that May 15, 2019 interview, he was very well aware of the allegations because we made him aware of the allegations back in May of 2019. Mr. Castro did say that he would not support any candidate who is found to have raped anyone. But I think he skirted. He danced around this issue. He said that he has no reason to believe that Larry Rupley would lie about something like this, but in the same breath, he says that he would need for this to be proven in a court of law. And, you know, we called him out. We said, this is not something you can be half pregnant with. It's either you believe Larry Rupley or you don't. And I don't think that Senator Will Castro was prepared to give a definite on that. And at any rate, he was fully aware of the allegations when he introduced that resolution just 2 weeks ago. The good news is that he's withdrawn the resolution. That's the good news in this entire thing. And we're happy that he did that. Now, Larry Rupley, in the interview that we brought you last night, talked briefly about a meeting that he had in 2016. This is the chain of events. In 1985, he was raped by AJ Belahaja. He lived on Guam all the way to 1999. And that's when AJ Belahaja started to appear in the news as the Guam Police Department spokesman during the Gutierrez administration. AJ Belahaja was, I guess, rising through the ranks of the Guam Police Department, and Larry Rupley had to see his ugly face every day in the news. And so Larry Rupley decided to leave Guam. In 2016, he came back, and as he was driving on the road, he saw an AJ Belahaja for senator big sign in Barragata, running under the Republican banner in the primary election in 2016. Now, he thought to himself, wow, I cannot believe it. I cannot let this happen. And so what he described in the interview that we played last night, in brief, was a meeting that a politically connected intermediary set up between him and the head of the Republican campaign in 2016, who goes by the name John Moffness. John Moffness is a political operative for the Calvos. We've heard us talk about him before on many times. He himself has been the subject of rape allegations by a 16-year-old Notre Dame student at the time. This was years and years and years ago. Now, he had a meeting with John Moffness at the AM Insurance conference room, according to that interview that we had with Larry that we played last night. He never said John Moffness. Sorry, I got ahead of myself here. in revealing, because we're gonna bring you the second interview in just a minute. He said that there was a meeting and that Republican officials were aware, and what he was trying to do was, one, get an apology from AJ Balahaja, and two, get the Republican Party to have him step down from running. He didn't. The Republican Party didn't do anything. But what's interesting, actually what should boggle our minds about this meeting, is what Larry Rupley says in the second interview about who was aware and the positions of power that they held, meaning their positions to do something or to cover up what happened. And so we're going to bring you this second interview right now. Recording? Hi, Larry. This is Troy.
Hey, Troy.
Hi, Larry. Thank you for taking my call. Can we go back to the 2016 meeting that you talked about, and can we go over that a little bit more?
Yeah, so the meeting was set up, and that was set up with the head of the Republican Party at the time because of him running at the time.
Because of AJ running under the Republican banner.
Right. That was probably that was the only way, and I knew how to do it because I used to work for the guard, so I knew. I said, okay, you know what? The only way I'm going to reach AJ is because if he won't take my call or anything, just let me call the head of the Republican Party.
Okay.
So I called. I got a hold of. It was set up by Stephanie Flores to talk to John Hopkins.
Okay.
At the time, in 2016, he was the head of the Republican Party, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe he was the head of their senatorial committee or something like that.
Correct, but
yes.
He already knew who was mentoring him and whatnot. He goes, you know what?
Yes.
I'll talk to Tom.
Can we go back to the 2016 meeting that you talked about, and can we go over that a little bit more?
Yeah, so the meeting was set up, and that was set up with the head of the Republican Party at the time because of him running at the time.
Because of AJ running under the Republican banner.
Right. Probably that was the only way, and I knew how to do it because I used to work for the guard, so I knew. I said, okay, you know what? The only way I'm going to reach AJ is because if he won't take my call or anything, just let me call the head of the Republican Party.
Okay.
So I called. I got a hold of. It was set up by Stephanie Flores to talk to John Hopkins.
Okay.
At the time, in 2016, he was the head of the Republican Party, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe he was the head of their senatorial committee or something like that.
Correct, but
yes.
He already knew who was mentoring him and whatnot. He goes, you know what?
Yes.
I'll talk to Tony Ada, and well, what do you want from this? And I said, all I want, John, is I just want an apology, and I want to be sincere, and I want him to not run for senator. I want to pull out.
Yeah.
Okay, and then he goes, you know what? That's what you want. Let me set something up. And we met at this coffee shop. I don't remember the name of the coffee shop that was next to Guam Model Spot. But that's where we met.
Okay.
And then he made a few phone calls, and then he called me on the phone saying, hey, you know what? I talked to, Tony Ada, and, the governor and the Senate governor are also aware because they have to know what's going on. But just in case you come out, you know what I mean? I said, okay.
Okay.
So what? And then, he goes, well, if you want, if you like, we can set up that private meeting so that way if you want to talk to AJ. I said, yes, I would like that. I want to talk to AJ. Because I want to apologize to my face.
What?
And I want
I want to tell them what I want. You know.
So Larry, so at that time in 2016, according to John Moffness, Governor Eddie Calvo, Lieutenant Governor Ray Tenorio, and Senator Tony Atta all were aware of the situation.
That is correct. According to John Moffness, that's what he's telling me. He's going to warn them because, just in case I don't get what I want and I come out in public, he wants to make sure that the Republican Party and everybody else knows what's going on.
Are you aware that when this story first came to us, we called Senator Tony Atta, and he told us that he was not aware, and that if he were aware of something like that, then he would not condone that kind of behavior. Did you know that we covered that story?
Yes, I did, and I heard your whole story on it.
Okay. And also Benny Pinalla, who at the time was the vice chairman of the Republican Party, he said that that the Republican Party was not aware, though he was not willing to say that John Moffness was lying, because the stories between John Moffness and the Republican Party are conflicting. Do you think that there's some sort of cover-up of the truth here to prevent any sort of civil liability from flowing to the Republican Party's way, or even the government of Guam?
Absolutely, I absolutely do.
Okay. Do you plan on holding the government of Guam accountable for some of this cover-up, since at the time Eddie Calvo was the governor?
I was mad and just, I'm still working on that. Okay, I don't know what we're going to do yet about that situation. But all I know that I wanted him to, as a leader, and if he did know, because I'm only going by what John Moffness told me, is that he has to make these people aware of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And John Moffness is not just nobody.
Yeah.
So, he ain't going to tell me something that is serious, that I would come out and make, and tell him what happened with me and AJ. This is serious. So I'm sure that they took it serious, and I'm sure they told these people, the people that I mentioned, and give them a heads up. Hey, there's a victim out there that's saying that one of our senatorial candidates are raped and molested this person.
Larry, how then did that make you feel? Because that's the head of the island, the governor of Guam. That
It makes me feel disgusted. Absolutely does. As a leader of our island, that you're supposed to take care of our people.
Yeah.
Even if we're off with it, I have family there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Are they protected over our government and our police department? Absolutely not.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And for all this, and it's been taking a while. Since you aired your name back in May, and I've been pursuing it and not getting the help I want, the support on Guam. Even for GPD to take their time on the investigation and make this. And my wife and I predicted it, that this time was going to be so stalled. They're going to stall so much time that have given time for this guy to retire.
Now, do you know how I know for a fact that Governor Eddie Calvo was aware of this situation with Larry Rupley and AJ Balahaja? Think about the year. It was 2016 when Larry Rupley had this meeting with AJ Balahaja first, and then with John Moffness. And the information that John Moffness brought to Larry Rupley was that Governor Eddie Calvo, Lieutenant Governor Ray Tenorio, and Senator Tony Atta all were aware of the situation. Do you know how I know? It was because this politically connected intermediary who Larry Rupley called to help him to get AJ Balahaja into a meeting and to speak with Republican Party officials, including the governor. That political intermediary called me at the governor's office because I was the governor's senior advisor. And I walked straight into the governor's chambers and I told Governor Eddie Calvo about the situation. So I know for a fact that what Larry Rupley is saying is absolutely true, and that in 2016, Governor Eddie Calvo absolutely knew about this situation. Now, I didn't follow the story after that because I thought that my part was done. I relayed the message. It wasn't until 2019 when Larry Rupley called us that I found out that nothing was done to help him in his situation or to file any sort of report against AJ Balahaja with the Guam Police Department for official misconduct. So do you know what that actually means legally and criminally? It means that if the Guam Police Department gets off its butt and does something about this story, or the Attorney General's office does something about this story and actually investigates, they'll be able to slap a conspiracy charge on all those who were involved in the cover-up of this story back in 2016, including Governor Eddie Calvo, Lieutenant Governor Ray Tenorio, and Senator Tony Atta. The people who were in charge of our government knew about this and covered it up so that their man, AJ Balahaja, could run as a Republican in the primary election in 2016. How does that make you feel as a citizen of this island, that its leaders covered up a rape? Larry Rupley is telling the God's honest truth. There is nothing that he said that we were not able to corroborate. And will the Guam Police Department do anything about it? I don't know. I'm losing a little faith considering that we were reminded by the dates of these interviews that they did not conduct the internal affairs investigation within the 90 days that they had, and that they allowed AJ Balahaja to just stay on the job until his retirement in October of 2019 without doing the investigation. Or if they did the investigation, they're not telling us what the results are. And they don't even publish the results of their investigations online like the law says that they're supposed to do, nor do they publish the 30-day status report of investigations that the law says that they're supposed to do. And we continuously remind the Guam Police Department about how they are violating the law that they're supposed to be upholding. Nothing. What's the Attorney General's office doing about it? Last we heard, the matter was with Prosecutor Christine Tenorio. Carlina Charfaris, the spokeswoman for the Guam Police Department, said that they are going to look into this matter further and possibly have a comment on it at some other time. The AG and the Guam Police Department are able to hide behind the laws that prevent them from disclosing information to the public, and they stretch those laws to the limits, to the point where we in the public are asking not just about this case with AJ Balahaja, but the murders that happened last year, the rape of the girl on Waisangsong Road, Janela Carrera, gambling, so many things. And before I go off on that tangent and we go on to some live phone calls with Customs, the Guam Police Department, and the University of Guam, I want to play for you, we want to play for you one more interview that happened on May 15, 2019. And this one was with acting chairman of the Republican Party of Guam at the time, Benny Panala, regarding AJ Balahaja. Doing, buddy? Well, you know, busy here with the news. Hey, I've got a question because I know, I'm not sure if you still are, but I know you were an officer of the Republican Party of Guam. Still, okay. So, in the 2016 election, there was a person who came to the Republican Party and informed the Republican Party that police officer AJ Balahaja, who was a candidate for senator under the Republican slate, had raped this person when he was between the ages of 8 and 9, or 8 and 14.
I never heard it that way.
So it was not brought to your attention?
No, that's the first I've heard of it. I remember AJ running, but never did I hear anything come up.
So this was brought specifically to, according to the victim, brought specifically to John Moffness, and to former Senator Tony Atta, who was in charge of the Republican slate at the time.
No, I don't think they were in charge of the Republican state party officers, and I was one of them. We took over that state.
Yes, but I remember that Governor Eddie Calvo, and I specifically remember this because I was the secretary of the party. Governor Eddie Calvo had directed or had asked Senator Tony Atta to help with the campaigning for this slate. And so this victim, that's the reason this victim was referred to Senator Tony Atta at the time, and also to John Moffness, who had been in charge of marketing for the Republican Party.
I know he was doing marketing for us. Tony Atta, I don't recall his involvement. That's news to me. I didn't know that Governor Calvo had, take care of the state. Normally, the Republican Party can handle that within its own purview. Remember?
Sure. Yeah. But so what you're saying is that, as far as you know, you were not aware of these allegations or the request from the victim for the Republican Party to remove A.J. Balahaja from the slate of candidates.
I was not aware of it. Had I been aware of it, I would have seriously asked for an inquiry into it.
Okay.
But that would be opposed to officers. That never came to our attention.
Okay, Benny, do you think you could ask your fellow party officers whether this is something that any of them were made aware of?
The only one that's still left over besides you and me,
yeah,
is Vic was around at that time.
Victor Cruz.
I'll double check to see if anybody, if we have a meeting next week, I'll bring it up so we can find out if anybody is aware of it.
Okay, thank you, Benny. I appreciate that.
All right, my brother. Take care, man. Have a good one.
You too. Good night. Just so you're all aware, I'm no longer a registered Republican. Just FYI. But I'm not even proud to say I'm a registered Democrat, though, because it's just, I don't know. I really don't think there's any discrimination between the two parties on stupidity, complacency, incompetency, lack of vision, protection of rapists. My goodness. Whenever I hear someone say, I don't recall, I keep thinking, wow, you must have been a witness on the stand before, because that's what lawyers tell witnesses to say so that they don't get in trouble for the crimes they did commit. Let's go with some live phone calls.
Office of the Chief of Police, Christy speaking.
Hi, Christy. This is Troy.
Hello.
Hi, Christy.
Hi.
This is Troy.
Hi, Troy. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. May I please speak with the Chief of Police?
The Chief will be arriving shortly. Did you want to speak to Lieutenant Amaguin in the
Yes.
meantime?
Yes,
Okay,
please.
one
Thank you.
moment.
Half a day, Officer of the Chief of Police, Lieutenant Morgan, speaking. How may I help you?
Half a day, Lieutenant Morgan.
Yes, sir. How may I help you, sir?
Sir, thank you for your time. May I ask you just a few questions? The first is regarding police officer A.J. Balahaja. Now, I know the chief told us that the internal affairs investigation into A.J. Balahaja ended October 27, 2019, when he retired from the Guam Police Department. But, I just discovered that the Guam Police Department was made aware of the allegations of rape against him on May 15, 2019, which takes the 90-day marker to August 15, 2019. So I'm wondering, what's the disconnect here?
You know what? I'm not too sure. I cannot really answer that. And that is was personal matter, and anything that dealt with the personal matter at that time, even if I know now, I will not be able to tell you. But I cannot really speak on behalf of, what transpired during the time frame.
But if there was an internal affairs investigation at some point, the result of that investigation would be publicly disclosable.
With that, I'm not sure. Was there somebody came forward and filed a complaint, or?
Yeah, the chief of police confirmed that there was an investigation, but that it ended because AJ Balahaja retired on October 27. But the dates are not matching as to when the internal affairs investigation began and when it should have ended.
Okay, I'm sorry, but Troy, I cannot tell you exactly the date as far as the investigation was conducted.
Okay.
I know on the 90 days, it's only 90 days we have for adverse action. But anything beyond 90 days, if the employee is still employed with us, we can do possible, probably if not, we can refer to their command for possible administrative action, a reprimand. But depending on severity of the accusation, but on behalf of the former employee that we have, I cannot really say so much in that regard, because I have no idea exactly what transpired, and even if I do about what really transpired during that time frame, if there's any conclusion to the investigations, I cannot divulge that to you without the clearance from our chief of police.
Okay, thank you. Can we have an update on the status of both the IA investigation and the criminal investigation into police officer Joey Uggan?
Okay, so as far as the criminal investigation, it's still ongoing. Ongoing,
okay.
Right. As far as the internal affairs, I'm not too sure. I'm not really privy about the investigations, but know that our internal affairs investigators are still conducting the investigations in that regard. But more than likely, the public will be made aware about the outcome of that when the time comes.
Okay. Has Andrew Castro been arrested? And if not, are the police still looking for him to arrest him?
Oh, that I'm not sure. Who's Andrew Castro?
He's the guy who lives in Manilao who was caught on video attempting to burglarize, destroying property, and attempting to assault his neighbor, Eugenio Estrelado.
Oh, that's the one that I'm not too sure yet. If we made an arrest in that case, it's more than likely Sergeant Tapao will put out a press release. But as far as the status of that case, I hate to say, but I'm not really too sure exactly what's the status of that case if an arrest has been made yet.
Okay, and can you ask if Sergeant Paul can give us a status update on that one?
Yes.
Thank
yes,
you.
Sir. I'll have him call you.
I appreciate
what's the number
that.
He can get a hold of you?
He knows my number. He WhatsApps me all the time with press releases.
Okay.
Yeah, and has the Customs Department referred to the Guam Police Department a criminal matter involving Customs Agent Eugene Tahaji Igros?
Well, that I'm not sure.
Okay.
I cannot answer that. Apologize.
No, that's fine. Can Sergeant Tapao give us an update on that?
Yes,
as
sir.
well?
I'll have him call you.
And then lastly, Mr. Amagan, Lieutenant Amagan, do you have any update? Yesterday, the Department of Revenue and Taxation told us that the Guam Police Department actually had referred to the Attorney General's office the Liberty Machine Game Rooms criminal complaint. And so I was wondering whether GPD has made any arrests of any of the game room operators or owners in that matter.
Okay, in that investigations, I believe the case that we handled was referred to the Attorney General's office for the information for possible indictment. We call it RPI.
Okay.
So that will be dependent on the AG's office and in that regard what they're going to do with the case.
Oh, okay. So any arrest warrants would be gotten by them then?
Yeah, they will be up to them if they want to forego probably more investigation in that matter. Or I can't really speak on behalf of the Guam. I mean the Office of the Attorney General, but we did our part. Well, remember we spoke about that.
Yes.
Now the two cases were forwarded to the Attorney General's office for their information and for possible indictment.
Thank you, Lieutenant Almaguin. I appreciate your time.
Okay, no problem, sir.
Okay, you have a good day.
All right, have a nice day.
You too.
Goodbye.
That guy's so freaking professional, you know? Just a timeless professional. I really enjoy talking to him. Let's call Customs. Day, may I please speak with the Director of Customs?
Hello.
Hello, may I please speak with the Director of Customs?
1 moment.
Thank
Let me
you.
see if he's available.
Thank you.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
He's still in the meeting. Do you want
The one from 2 hours ago?
No, he's actually back-to-back meetings. But I have an email that you can email your question to.
Is he gonna respond to the email? I'm just wondering.
Yes.
Okay, and this is the one regarding Gene Egros, right?
Yes,
so
sir.
he has not prepared a statement yet, even though he knows the question?
Are you ready for the email?
No, but I've sent the question through several phone calls.
I don't know anything about that, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I will email him, Ignacio. Oh, as a matter of fact, we did email him.
Did you?
Yes, we did. Johnny Rosario emailed him, I believe it was 5 or 6 days ago.
Okay, let me double-check that. 1 moment, sir.
Thank you. It's the...
Okay, sir. I'm gonna look into that and I'll have him respond.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. You know, I think we're gonna design a shirt. We're gonna design a shirt that says GovGuam # I'm gonna look into that. That's the standard line from the government. I'm gonna look into that. I'm gonna look into that. It's like when someone invites you to a party and you don't want to go, and you say, "We'll see, maybe. Yeah, I think so. I'll check my schedule. I'll check if we're doing anything. Guarantee maybe. #. Our last phone call.
Division of Humanities.
Hi, may I please speak with Dr. Selman?
Hello?
Hello, may I please speak with Dr. Selman?
Oh, that's Dr. Selman?
Yes.
Did you want to call the dean's office?
Sure, what's the number?
1 moment.
Thank you.
Try the 2850.
Thank you very much.
Okay, you're welcome.
Hi, hello. May I please speak with Dr. Selman?
Hello.
Hello, may I please speak with Dr. Selman?
I'm sorry, he's currently not in.
He's currently not in?
Yes.
Oh, okay. You know, may I ask, ma'am, what's your name?
This is Karen.
Hi, Taryn. Were you working at UOG over the last 2 years?
I'm sorry?
Were you working at UOG over the last 2 years?
Yes.
Were you one of the 9 people who Dr. Selman took to the Bang Tang Spa? I think Taryn was one of the 9 people Dr. Selman took to the Bang Tang Spa. We are trying to find out from the University of Guam what in the world happened to Dr. Selman for misusing government of Guam credit card funds at the Bang Tang Spa in the Loti Guam Resort, and the other 8 employees who he took to get a massage on your dime. Yeah, because the University of Guam refuses to disclose this information. We'll have more on that on News Tonight. We're going to bring you tonight more news from the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands and more on this ongoing story regarding Larry Rupley's journey for justice and for peace for the survivors of rape. For Kandit News, we are Eric Rosario and Troy Torres. Good afternoon.